You are welcome to Literature Hub 247. This is a literature channel where the art and science of literature are discussed. Our discussion today is on a non-African poem titled Caged Bird. A non-African poem titled Caged Bird and composed by Maya Angelou. Let's go ahead and do justice to the poem. This is the text of the poem. A free bird lives on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips its wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful thrill of things unknown, but long for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the shiny trees, and the fat ones waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful thrill of things unknown, but long for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. So that is the text of the poem. Now this is just a short life history of the poet Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is a woman. So she was born in 1928 in Marguerite Johnson in St. Louis, Missouri. She is a singer, dancer, actress, composer, Hollywood director, famous writer, poet, and civil rights activist under Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Dr. Maya Angelou is a famous literature which grew in her during the period she suffered from disorderliness. When she was a child, she was sexually assaulted and abused by her mother's boyfriend. Maya Angelou revealed this, and the man was convicted and found dead later after his release. This development had a negative effect on Maya. She thought that it was the revelation from her that led to the death of the man. She instantly developed selective mutism, that is, a psychological disorder in which a person cannot speak in certain situations. Maya Angelou could not utter a word for a complete 5 years. It was during those years that she developed a love for books and literature. Her listening, memorizing, and observing skills were also developed. Hence, she became a renowned poet and writer. She received different awards from the former presidents of the US, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. That's just the short life history of Maya Angelou. She's still alive. She's 95 this year. Now, this is the poetic meaning of the difficult words in the poem. This will help us to understand the poem better. Leaps means jumps. Stalks means restricts, in brackets, referring to a caged bird. Seldom means hardly. Rage means violent anger. Clip means cut. Trill means repeated sound. And breeze means flight. Now the content of the poem, that is the interpretation of the text of the poem that just read. The main themes of this poem are freedom and imprisonment. The poet, in illustrating this, makes use of a caged bird and a free bird in the poem. So the main theme there are freedom and imprisonment. That's why the poet makes use of a cage and a free bird. In the first stanza, Maya describes the life of a free bird succinctly with the appropriate choice of words that express the freedom and how happy a free bird is. Words like quotes, leaps, floats, dips, claim, unquote, are carefully used to describe a free bird. How happy and joyful the bird is. Now let's now quote from the poem. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky, quote and unquote. See that this the words used here are carefully chosen to show freedom. The second and the third stanzas are dedicated to the description of the life of a caged bird, which symbolizes imprisonment and isolation. Some words are used here aptly to describe the life of a caged bird. Words like quote, stocks, cage, bars, rage, clipped, tied, fearful trail, unknown, freedom. So all these words are used for a caged bird. These words describe the agonizing condition of a caged bird and the song for freedom. Now, the quotation from the poem. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful thrill of things unknown, but long for stay, and his tune is heard. On the distant hill, the caged bird sings of freedom, unquote. The poet is able to prove that there is joy in freedom and that imprisonment or isolation is inhuman. He's trying to establish the difference between imprisonment and freedom. A free bird enjoys total freedom as it jumps from one place to the other, unhindered, and flies freely in the sky with joy. So the free bird is at total freedom to fly to anywhere. She also expatiates further on isolation with a caged bird that is kept in a cage, with its leg tied and the wings fastened. The bird hardly sees beyond the cage. The caged bird is not only kept in the cage, the leg is also tied and the wings fastened. The irony here is that the free bird does not sing, it is the caged bird that sings. The poet is trying to educate us that freedom is a natural phenomenon that cannot be rightly taken away from somebody, because the caged bird is still able to cry for freedom through song. That is, despite the agonizing condition of the caged bird, it still sings, singing of freedom. It sings of things unknown because it doesn't know what could befall it at any time. The caged bird is pessimistic of what will happen to it in the next seconds. It doesn't know what will happen. Anything can happen. Quote, so he opens his throat to sing, unquote. In stanza 3, the poet expresses the unhappiness of the caged bird despite the song. The bird is pessimistic of possible eventualities. Hence, the cry is heard in the far distance of freedom. Quote, the caged bird sings with a fearful thrill of things unknown, but long for still, and his tune is here on the distance hill, for the cage bird sings of freedom, unquote. The poet explains further the optimism of a free bird thinking of another flight in the air and jumping from tree to tree, and the sumptuous meal of quote unquote fat worm waiting for it. That is, while the cage bird is pessimistic, the free bird is optimistic of good things ahead of him, thinking of another flight in the air, freedom, jumping from tree to tree, and the fat worm that is awaiting it, sumptuous meal of fat worm. Good. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the singing trees. Let me take that one again. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on the drum bright lawn, and he names the sky his own, unquote. That the sky is his own, since it has freedom to move anywhere it likes. The poet also expresses the possible danger awaiting the cage bird, and that is why the cage bird sings of freedom from the cage. Its wings is clipped and the feet tied. Quote, but a cage bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied. So he opens his throat to sing, unquote. So he's pessimistic about what will happen to it in the next seconds. So that's why you have the use of some words like a nightmare. A nightmare is a fearful dream. The last stanza is a repetition of the third stanza. It is just for emphasis and to call the attention of the readers to the experience of a cage bird. So that's the interpretation of the poem. Now, the themes of the poem. The first one is freedom. This is seen in the first stanza where the life of a free bird is described. The bird is full of life and happy, and as it flies about from one place to another. The next one is isolation or incarceration. This is also explained in the second stanza. The cage bird is isolated with its leg tied and its wing clipped. It hardly sees beyond the cage, hence it cries for freedom. Another theme is agony. This one is referring to the cage bird. The cage bird is in agony. It is not convenient in the cage with the tight leg and the clipped wings. As we all know that a bird is lively when it is free to fly about. Though the bird sings, the song is agonizing, crying for freedom. There's also the theme of optimism. This one is making reference to the free bird. The free bird in this poem is still thinking of better days ahead. This is seen in the first stanza, where it is optimistic of another interesting flight. Fat wants to feed on. This makes the bird happier. The last one there is pessimism. This one is referring to the cage bird. The cage bird is pessimistic because it is in danger of any possible occurrence. That is why it sings for freedom, and the song is heard in a distant place. Now, these are some of the poetic devices used in the poem that add beauties to the poem. The other one is personification. We have this in line 2, quote, on the back of the wind, unquote. Line 28, quote, the shadow shouts on a nightmare scream, unquote. We hear that some attributes of a living thing has been given to the non-living thing. It's here. We also have the use of alliteration. We have it in lines 10, 14, 19, 23, 24, and 30. Please let's check it. There's also the use of irony. Under normal circumstances, it is the free bird that is supposed to be singing, but the reverse is the case here. It is the cage bird that is singing. It is when somebody is happy that they're not supposed to be singing. But here, It is somebody that is the body that is in a critical condition that is singing. Yeah, because it's singing of freedom. The poet makes use of irony here to tell us that freedom is a natural phenomenon that people should enjoy, and that no matter what, somebody's freedom cannot be totally taken away from him or her. Like the bird now, the freedom is not totally taken away because it can still sing. The bird's leg is tied and the wings clipped, but the voice is not taken away. See that? There's also the use of repetition. The third stanza is repeated in the last stanza of the poem. This is to lay emphasis and call the attention of the readers to the agonizing experiences of the caged bird, and to educate us that freedom is pleasurable while isolation is inhumane. There's the use of enjambment, in brackets, run on line. This occurs in a poem when the sense expressed in a line of the poem is not complete in that line and has to be completed in the next lines. There is always no definite pause at the end of such lines. The lines run to each other. This is used extensively in this poem. There is also the use of contrasts. The poem is use of a contrasting situation. The poem makes use of contrast in bringing out the distinctions between the cage and the free bird. There is a great difference if somebody is totally compared to being confined to a place. There is a great difference if somebody has freedom compared to being confined to a place. So that is the poem. And if somebody has total freedom, is totally free, he's supposed to be there. Sorry for that. Being confined to a place. So that's that. Now if you are new on this channel, I will advise that you subscribe to the channel. Just click on the subscription button there so that you have access to all my videos, and whenever any video is released, you will be notified. You can also invite your friends to join us on this platform, and also you are free to share my videos on any social media platform, be it Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, or any other one. You can also visit our website for any literature material you need. The website is www.literatureHub247.com. Again, www.literatureHub247.com. Just search for it and it will open to the website. Click on bookshop and you'll be taken to this place. These are the books. So this one is on 2021 past questions. Where can they go? This is for JAM 2022 and 2023 syllabus. It covers everything. This one is a classical story. That one is just for your entertainment. This is on 2022 questions and answer. It covers WAEC and NECO. This one is background only to literature. This is simplified poetry that contains the 12 poems recommended by WAEC and NECO. That is African and non-African. While this one covers the analysis of the drama and prose text that we have in the harmonized syllabus. This one contains 140 likely examination questions and answers. So they are very useful for literature students. Just click on download and follow the instruction. So if you have any question on literature in English, just send your questions through the message box down there, and I will rightly send the answers to you. Thank you, and God bless as you are following this channel. Bye.